Y'all, that video that I just did on Jupiter uploaded so fast with my new internet. Talk about Jupiter, right? Anyways, it uploaded so fast that I'm gonna make another video right now and get it uploaded today. So we're gonna talk about Saturn. Saturn is another one of those stories where he had to kill his dad. I know, right? Saturn's dad got a prophecy that one of his sons was going to overthrow him, blah, blah, blah. So he tried to kill all of his children. Saturn in Greek mythology is Cronus, right? He was the god of the harvest. When you look at old pictures of Saturn, he's depicted as the Grim Reaper with a sickle. The sickle is what people use to harvest wheat and things like that. I'm gonna stop saying so much too. So the reason he killed his dad is because Saturn's dad was just going and going and going, just so much external energy, and there were no limits to it. There were no boundaries. And Saturn's mom was like, I need you to help me with this. I need you to help me get him in check. He's out of control. So she's the one that made the sickle for Saturn, and that's what he used to defeat his dad. Saturn's dad had imprisoned his wife's siblings. So Saturn's dad imprisoned the siblings of Saturn's mother. So it was like all of Saturn's aunts and uncles. Now, after Saturn's dad was defeated, hear my wind chimes, I hope it's not too windy for this, but anyways, after Saturn defeated his dad, he didn't set the people that had been imprisoned free. So instead of setting the prisoners free, what he did was get a dragon to guard them. So now they're imprisoned, and there's this dragon that's going to keep them from getting out. If we look at that from just like a core, okay, what is it about Saturn? We find that he set boundaries. He set boundaries on what his dad could do. Being the god of the harvest, agriculture is all about boundaries, right? You have to plant the seeds at this time. You have to make sure you have the right soil, the right this, the right that. There are all these like parameters in place, all of these boundaries. Time itself is a boundary. So that's why Cronus, Saturn, is also the god of time, because time is like the ultimate boundary. So agriculture, you have all these timelines, all of these time boundaries. Time is like the ultimate boundary, right? It's kind of the one boundary that humanity is unable to break through. As soon as we're born, we're dying. If you look at like nuclear decay, entropy, all of those things are about the life cycle, right? You're born, like a baby is born, and it's only a baby for so long, and then it meets the baby boundary and turns into a toddler, and then it meets the toddler boundary and turns into a little kid, and then a big kid, and then an adult, and then that's the end of our physical life, right? So that's kind of what Saturn is all about. Oh, there's a bee. And 2 A's. There are lots of gods and goddesses in mythology that represent, oh dang it, hang on. Sorry about that. Every week they test our tornado siren. So yeah, typical Saturn coming in with his time boundaries during my video. Anyways, back to Saturn. There are lots of gods and goddesses associated with time. Father Time. You have Kali Ma in Hinduism is like the destroyer of time. Oppenheimer has been a big movie for the last year. And Oppenheimer, I don't know if he misquoted the Gita on purpose when he said, now I have become death, now I have become death, the destroyer of worlds. That quote is actually from the Gita, and it reads, time I am, the source of destruction of the worlds. Krishna said that in the Gita. So that is what time is. It's the cycle of life and death, right? So Saturn, or Kronos, maintains the cycle of the seasons, the course of time. So the planet Saturn itself, it's got a really rocky core. It's hard and just not moving. It's like rock is a boundary, right? Mountains are boundaries. And the most famous thing about Saturn is, of course, its rings. Rings are also a boundary. Like, you can't get past this like, this is as far as you're gonna go. There's a stoppage here. One of the cool things about Saturn is the hexagon at the North Pole of the planet. And science has figured out that the hexagon is formed because, let me set this down really quick. There's in two different layers of the atmosphere. In one layer of the atmosphere, the wind goes this way, and then the next layer of the atmosphere, the wind goes this way, and then this way. Yeah. So because the winds are going two different ways, it creates that hexagon shape in the clouds of the North Pole of Saturn, which I think is really cool, because no other planet has that, right? Everything on the planets is like round or circular. That's just the natural way things go. If you blow a bubble, no matter what shape your bubble blowing wand is, the bubble is still going to be round, because that's just how like air pressure and stuff works. But not with Saturn. Saturn's found a way to create a different sort of geometric boundary with that hexagon, which is pretty cool. So what does all this mean for us, right? Boundaries are natural things. We need, if you think about roads, right? Before there were roads, people could just like take off across the grass, across whatever, and just go straight from point A to point B, sort of. Well, when there were only a few people on the planet, that might have worked. But think about now a city, right? Think about the interstate. Think about even smaller towns where there's still a lot of people. The roads were created so those people could go where they need to go without there being so much chaos. And the boundary of the road, because you have to drive on the road. Well, you don't have to drive on the road, but you know, you have to drive on the road. That helps people get to where they're going more efficiently. So that's an example of how boundaries can be beneficial to us. If you have somebody driving down the road and all of a sudden they just get off the road and go wherever they, you know, like all the Jeep commercials and the truck commercials where they just push the boundaries and go their own way. That's all well and good, but if everybody did that, it would be difficult to drive on the road. It could even be dangerous. I always think of Saturn as like, you know, in the movies you see like those really strict Russian dance teachers. I say Russian because, you know, they're Russian, they're tough. So you have this dance teacher and he's such a like jerk. Nobody likes him. The dancer is just, their bodies are beat up. You know, ballet is like really hard on your body. Like your feet are all blistered and maybe you break some of your bones even. Your body is like, it takes a toll on your body. It takes a toll on you physically. But this dance teacher is like the best dance teacher in the world. And maybe he sees this one student, and this student has so much potential, and he's harder on this student than any of the other students, so he sets more boundaries for her. Like maybe she has to, do more repetitions in whatever move they're practicing, or he just pushes her harder because he knows that she's the best, because he sees what she can be. And then, like, at the end of the movie, she does this amazing dance, and there's a standing ovation, and, he's just kind of, like, behind the curtain, like, he's not going to smile, he's never going to say good job, he's never going to say I'm proud of you, but you know that he pushed you because you had it in you, right? So, and that's what boundaries can do. They can bring out the best in us. Like Jupiter is just expansion and how we reach for greatness. Saturn can be those things too with the boundaries. A little kid, right? Lethan, my son, he's 6 years old. He needs boundaries. Those boundaries are not just to show him like what's socially acceptable or whatever, like you have to wear clothes being the boundary, but it's so he can learn and figure out how to do things and not just like go crazy. Remember, that's why Saturn had to stop his father to begin with, because his father was just like, just calm down, dude. Calm down, Dad. Pops, you're going too far. So, responsibility, discipline, hard work, these things are all boundaries, but they're for a purpose. They make us better. And just like anything else, where your boundaries are is unique to you. Some people need more boundaries. Some people need fewer boundaries. A lot of you use planners and journals and things like that, and if you think about like a planner layout, there's dashboard planners, vertical planners, horizontal planners. The lines on the planner, the layout of the planner creates a boundary where you write down different things. Some people need like super structured planners, and some people are good with just a blank page. Just because certain boundaries work for other people does not mean that they're going to work for you. And just because this person seems to thrive with fewer boundaries does not mean that's what's going to work for you. Remember, everything is on a spectrum. Like, here is like ultimate boundaries, here is just no boundaries. You fall somewhere on here, and you have to figure out where that is for you. And it's not like you just figure it out and boom, you have the key to success or whatever. That's not how it works, because with every new thing that we experience, we have to find our boundaries with that thing. It could be like how much you can work. Like if your job is just, hey, be at work, and that's too much for you, you have to set that boundary. You have to say, I can't do that. This is what I can do, and this is what I can't do. And that's okay. That's totally okay. Knowing Saturn and the energy of Saturn helps us figure out who we are, like all the rest of the planets. So words like anything that starts with chrono has to do with Saturn. Saturn is also Saturday, which is the last day of the week. Like, it sets a boundary. This is the end of the week, right? Cool stuff. So you guys let me know what you think about that. Again, I love to read your comments. I love to interact with you and talk with you. I love talking about astrology. Yeah, so that's all I have for Saturn, and I'll see you in the next one.